Man. Comic Hit 84. He's live, baby. That's right. I'm out. I'm on the loose. And I'm wasting no time. I had to assemble Voltron and get a crew of the homies together to talk about the Joker film. And without further ado, let me bring in these heavy hitters, y'all. We got some big brains here that are ready to dissect this movie with me. First up, you know him. You love him. He's the HialeahComicBro. What's up, my man?
Kenny, it's free, and I'm glad I'm on, man. So happy to be here, man. Let's talk some Joker.
Absolutely. The man, fresh off of New York Comic-Con. Everyone was captivated with the NYC Jeffrey Comic-Con bromance. I know I was.
I was.
I really was. And here he is, my man, Kavi NYC.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, I'm still pretty damn exhausted. And I still have an empty chair right here. It's just next to me, waiting for Jeffrey to come back. But it was
a Rockstar energy drink on it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm even drinking Monster Energy drink in his honor, which I never drank. But yeah, we had a chance to see the movie together also during that trip. So it's pretty awesome. We did our own review also, but now we get to actually talk about the movie. So I'm pretty excited. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And look who it is. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him from the chats and from the Instagrams and from his cool content. But now he's joining us on the live panel. It's my man, Los.
Yo. What's going on, everybody? I'm excited to be here. Nervous as all hell before. But I'm good now. I talked to my boys before, and we good. And I'm ready to do this, man. I'm excited to be on. I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just glad to be here with you guys. Like I say, Kenny's free, and what better way to jump on your first time on a collaboration than Kenny free party. So let's do this.
Now that I think about it, this might be my first time on Comic Head 84's channel live, but maybe because there was such a long hiatus there, and then I've been on Comic Heads, but that's a different thing. So
that might be.
Yeah.
That might be.
All right.
Good to be back. And let's not forget the chat, man. We got Pope Cerebus I in the house.
Thank you, sir.
The lurker himself, Perry Comics.
Perry Comics, yes, sir.
The real Golden Age guru.
Yes.
CS Comics.
Yes.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. not hurtful, harmful shots.
Yeah. Digging up my boy DS. Mr. G, Chico himself. I haven't seen him since he posted that very cryptic Instagram with all his hair in a pile.
Hair gone, yeah.
Oh yeah. What was that
about? And D-Runk and JP, they checked in before to show some support, but they were scared of them spoilers. And and yes, that is true. We want to really talk about the movie. So we're just
maybe you should put one of those banners up on the screen that says spoiler.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Or is
I don't think my free version allows such
that doesn't work with the free version.
Yeah.
I have the paid version and I've still never even used that. So that's how smart I am.
Every time a new person pops in the
chat, I'm paying for features I don't even use.
Yeah, I know, right? You gotta get on that Tony Sanders tip.
Right?
Every time a new person pops in the chat and be like, hey, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Spoilers.
Pretty much.
But yeah, man, and honestly, I don't even feel like, I was saying this before we went on, of like, it isn't really a movie that you can spoil all that much.
No.
Because
it's
not like, there's no crazy reveals per se. It's not like these big moments that's like, oh, I didn't want that spoiled.
Yeah.
What makes it good is
it's a character study, not so much a here's this mystery to solve and then it's solved by the end. It's like it takes you in a bunch of different directions, and there are twists and turns. So if anything, the twists and turns could ruin the movie for you if you hear them before you see them. But the twists and turns aren't necessarily plot; they're character.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You go into the movie already knowing the end result. I mean, spoiler alert, he becomes a Joker. You know what I mean? Like, it's so you kind of you get the ending of it, but it's just how they get there. is where it kind of like throws you for that loop, and you're like, all right. So that's the cool thing about the movie is seeing that development of the character. So
for sure.
And I feel like we're already dancing around things using non-spoiler language here, and it's making me crazy.
I know you got to do all this cryptic talk and like, it's this, but
it's true. It's not that big reveal or anything. It's not.
Yeah.
No,
I think there's only 2 spoilers. I think the 2 things I would consider spoilers is like what happened, like the talk show, the end result of the talk show.
Yeah.
Talk show, yes.
And the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are like really the only 2 that was like.
Well, arguably also another thing, but I don't want to say it now.
Yeah.
I think we can get into some possible theories that are not necessarily confirmed, maybe towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't get into that now.
All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna structure a little bit. We're gonna open up with, as painful as it is for us.
Hey, what's up, Javi and Sharon in the house?
Yeah, Javi and Life with 2.
Life with 2 YouTubers.
Hello.
We're gonna. Should we even bother starting with a few minutes of non-spoiler general thoughts?
I thought we kind of did that, but I'm down to do it.
Yeah, we kind of did, right?
I'm down to do it.
We kind of did.
You know,
we kind of described it in a non-spoilery way without actually.
Javi just asked a good question. Is it a superhero movie? Would you say?
No.
There's definitely not a superhero in it.
No.
Well, I mean, to some degree, Batman isn't a superhero movie either. I mean, he's not a superhero. I mean, if you want to get real specific about it.
Yeah.
That's the man with the Batman hat. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a comic. I mean, the Batman movies are comic book movies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call this a comic book movie, though.
No.
That's the thing.
It's more structured into like real life. You know, there's aspects of the movie where you can find yourself, and it doesn't need to be that whole the illness, the mental illness, PTSD, whatever you want to call what happened to him. It's one of those things where it's you see somebody just completely break down, and it can happen to anybody. You know, if everything in your life goes absolutely wrong, and it's one after another, and you just can never get back up. You can easily see.
Right. I don't remember. I don't remember who I heard say this, but I almost said the exact same thing to myself, and then I heard somebody else say this. But like, if you look at the book, the book, The Killing Joke.
Yep.
And you walk away with like the one sentence of like that's repeated over and over about that book, which is it only takes one bad day or whatever, right? This movie is like it only takes one bad like series of bad days, events, one bad life, if you will. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of the way this movie unfolds. It's seeing essentially a person, like you said, descend into madness and darkness as after a series of events that takes place to him that sort of pushes him over the edge. Like he was always kind of headed there, but there are certain events that take place in this movie that push him over the edge.
Push him. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is that point. There was the one line of like, it's not just one bad day, it's like one bad life. It's like a line that hit me too. I think it's when he's sitting in the hospital with his mom and he's like, she was like, oh, you're supposed to be happy and bring joy into the world.
That's why
I haven't been happy for a single minute in my whole life.
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't that the nickname she gave him? Like she called him Happy.
Happy.
Yeah. Which I found so odd the whole time. That line paid it off. I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant writing.
Yeah, it was definitely, they definitely did a lot of that foreshadowing writing. So like you seen something happen and all of a sudden they cut to the end. You're like, oh yeah, you kind of get that irony. Like, yeah, okay, I get that.
Right.
Yeah, they did such a good job with that. So like,
I mean, even some of the things that and we alluded to it, saying like some of these things are kind of twists, but even some of those things had me going like, man, I just don't see that. Like I just don't believe that would happen. And then they're like, and then they do the twist, and I didn't see the twist coming. And I'm like, whoa, that actually makes so much sense now.
Oh yeah.
You guys know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was saying the same thing. I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, shit, it's so fine. Like, what is he?
Yeah, like, what's Zazie Beetz doing with this dude? You know,
it was like a Sixth Sense kind of moment. Oh,
yeah, absolutely a Sixth Sense kind of moment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes,
So,
as far as like
they had me. They had
themes. There's like themes in the movie. So if we talk about like the themes and the vibes of the movie, first off, like kind of like the tone that's set, which is the tone is set through the whole thing with the score. That cello that's always going through. Really, it's a creep. It's like there's a creepy vibe throughout it.
There is
mental health for sure.
I mean, if I had to pick one thing that I liked the most about the movie, it's probably the score.
The score is amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It definitely drew you in. Every single time there was a moment that was just like, okay, you need to be invested in this moment. It hit you. And you're like, oh shit, is something's about to go down. Like, all right, and it's just it definitely drew you in. The score was
right. The score in combination with Joaquin Phoenix's like physical performance, you know, literally his physical performance, because it was such a physical performance, both from a preparation standpoint, physically, that what he had to undergo to get to that appearance, to what he actually did in the movie from an acting standpoint. It was fantastic.
I think from what I heard too, the person who did the score in this movie, this was only like the second time that they've done, or the first time they've done a big budget movie. They've only done like TV shows or something like that, but they never actually done a movie.
That's what I heard. I forget which TV show it was, but I think it was something I've seen.
And they filmed, or they recorded the score before the movie, so he was actually like dancing and everything for like the first time to it. So like you actually get to see him dancing and have that organic motions and everything and stuff like that. So when they filmed it, was like beautiful. Like
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that, but that's a really smart directing choice. Yeah. If that was that was his choice to do it that way, because
that was you can see how organic it was. Like when he danced, like the music wasn't choppy and it wasn't like they cut and pasted it to where he's dancing and now they just kind of threw it in the background. It was like him dancing to actual music, like right then and there, and you're like, all right, like
that's cool.
Excellent job, man.
Yeah, they shot in like real warehouses and stuff in New York City. Like there wasn't a lot of sets that they built for it and stuff. So that
I actually like throughout the last 18 months or so, maybe not in the last 3 or 4 months, but prior to that, I had heard about various like locations and kind of like murmurs about the Joker movie shooting in XYZ part of town. I wasn't gonna go like stalk the movie set or anything like that.
Yeah, you were. Stop.
Nah.
And when we talk about like the vibe of the movie, it definitely harkens back to like old school films, or films of the past from a few decades back, movies from the 70s and New York City in the 80s. Lucha, I think you noticed some of that. What is this?
I started watching it.
Some vibes from with this.
It was totally Taxi Driver and King of Comedy.
King of Comedy.
Yeah, I got the Taxi Driver vibes for sure.
De Niro, Taxi Driver. De Niro.
King of Comedy. Yep, King of Comedy.
Dude, it was the whole scene with and then he's playing.
The fact that he's in the movie is just
he's in the movie. He's playing part of
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. Oh my god, bro! I was like, this is so badass.
What was the last name? It was Murray something, right? Murray. Do you guys remember?
Oh my god!
Like the host's name?
Yeah.
Franklin? Was it Murray Franklin?
Franklin? Yeah, I think so.
That was great casting, bro. It was,
they set it up. They set it up right from the beginning of the movie. When you go in and the opening logo, it's like the 70s or 80s like logo of the old films and stuff like that. Like it already gave you that old vibe to it.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Right. This is gonna be something different. It's gonna be something different.
And it just started. I like how it just kind of started. Like it didn't, you know what I mean? Like it didn't go through any sort of like, he was dropped off at the, whatever back in the day. Fast forward 30 years, like it just happened. I love that.
It's on.
Yeah.
Like there was no musical score. There was no nothing. It just like cut to boom. Let's get right to the movie.
Yeah. Cut right into him putting on clown makeup. Like that
was crazy.
Yeah. You didn't have to see him as a kid either, or his life, because you saw it play out in his adulthood. It was very good, man. It was straight to the point. I loved it.
And
anybody see what's happening? Anybody see what's happening in the chat over here? So Bueller keeps saying that he don't know what the movie is. He never heard of Joker, and he doesn't like it.
Yeah, right.
Well, and, we don't know what
DJ Watson is about
or being serious about, so that's kind of hard to tell.
Thank you, DJ. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
He is a man. It's awesome to actually be on a show with you, dude.
You know, like I said, it's that, you know, I definitely wanted to jump on. This is something. This movie, again, it was one of those things where DC has been kind of failing me as a DC fan, and you know, this movie kind of just like, you know what? Let's reset the whole damn DCEU and start with this movie. Start your whole universe with a villain movie. Like that would be. They should do that because I think that will work.
I hear what you're saying, but I lean more towards I'm hoping that this movie is just a standalone movie,
a one-off,
and that they don't try to connect dots and make it anything more than what it is.
Well, I think the director and the writer said that he was like that. This is a one-off. It's not going to be tied to the new Batman movie. It's a one-off,
which I'm hoping remains the case.
Yo, they changed.
If they ended the way it was, I'm perfectly fine with that. It was perfectly done. It was perfectly ended. You know, it gave the audience that choice of what you think is going on in this movie. So it was like perfect that.
If they made it part of canon for a younger Batman, then he would be like fairly old. You know, like. You know what I mean? Like to try. I mean, I guess it could still be done in theory. Like
but the thing is, if they do something like that and keep him in canon and stuff like that, when Batman or Bruce becomes of age to become Batman, then they would have to be like, all right, well, he's too old to be Joker, so it's gonna have to be like one of his disciples or one of his followers that kind of takes the mantle. But they're not gonna have the same. It's not gonna be the same. You know what I mean? So if they try to do something like that, I think it'll just fail. It'll fall flat, but you know, if they do keep it as a one-off movie, I'm fine.
There was something floating around in the press about Joaquin Phoenix kind of possibly reversing his tune, because at first he was like, "I'm never gonna put myself in that like mental headspace again," because it was one time was enough. And watching the movie, that's totally 100% understandable.
Oh yeah.
You know? Because it seems like he really did sort of like, you know, method act his way into that thing.
Yeah. But he had fun, I think.
But he sort of changed his tune.
He did, yeah.
He sort of said something like, "If Todd Phillips is back in, I might consider it." You know what I mean?
And he said he's interested on what else he could do with the character. And look, Ash is king, man. They made a boatload of money, and one thing that actors like is praise. You know what I'm saying? Actors like it when Joaquin Phoenix is the belle of the ball right now. Yeah. You know, Oscar nominations probably. Actors eat that shit up. You know, he's gonna want to go.
Well, look, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, he's already been through sort of critical acclaim performances and award consideration style performances. This thing made money. This opened. He's never had a movie open at this level. You know what I mean?
No.
So.
Yeah, I think his only big opening, and he wasn't even the main character. Is
Gladiator, right? Gladiator, yeah.
So, and he wasn't even the title, the headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did good with that Johnny Cash movie, but not
the Walk the Line.
Right, from a critical standpoint,
but it didn't make no money.
Really well, yeah, it didn't make a ton. So,
Wood in the house, he comes through and says it was well shot and acted. But the story definitely does not draw back in for like repeat viewings.
Oh no, I don't agree, man.
I don't agree, but I can see how somebody could have that opinion, or can react to it that kind of way. Because it's not. I mean, let's just say this right off the bat. It's not a light viewing.
It's a dark movie.
It's definitely a dark movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like. And it's kind of what I was saying about it's a tough movie to really spoil because it's not that kind of movie of necessarily. I think if I go back to review it, I'm going to be kind of like appreciating more of the cinematography choices, some of the little stuff that Joaquin Phoenix is probably doing that I wasn't picking up on before. So the story.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be about, I guess, the Easter eggs, which we sort of kind of were talking about earlier a little bit. Like, did you catch anything or whatever? And there were things that, like, because like I was looking like all over the screen during certain parts, you know what I mean? And I've heard about some Easter egg possibilities, but I didn't particularly catch anything, you know, because I would want to like freeze frame it and like zoom in, you know. And there was a couple of moments for that, because especially as it relates to the Thomas Wayne backstory with Arthur Fleck's adopted mother. Now we're getting into total spoilers here now.
Forget it.
There's no more dancing around. So like that's where I kind of got the most, I guess, not lost, but not I don't necessarily know that I was confidently 100% understanding all of that backstory, because I didn't catch like all the writing in that note, or I didn't catch all the details in those paperwork at Arkham. When he like punches the guy, grabs the paperwork, runs to the stairwell, and he starts reading all the paperwork. Mm-hmm. I didn't quite catch everything. I know that it created yet another emotional swell in him. You know what I mean? That just kept leading down that further dark path. But I would like to see those little pieces,
right?
Like more slowly and close up.
Yeah, you can see if we're on the same page. We got the mother's got this infatuation with Thomas Wayne. She's a former employee, and it's like she's writing letters to him nonstop to help him out. And he's like, leave the guy alone. He discovers a letter that says, take care of your son. So we first get introduced to the idea through the mother's letter that Joker might be Thomas Wayne's son. But then we find out, he confronts Thomas Wayne in a great scene too. In that bathroom. Mm-hmm. He's like, why can't you people just be decent ever? But he's like, you were adopted. That's a shame. Your mother's batshit crazy.
She's great. Yep.
Right. And he confirms that with the scene that
the paperwork
I'm talking about, where he gets the documentation. Indeed, he was adopted. But then we think case closed, right? But then we get the picture painting himself up for the Tonight Show thing, and it's a little kind of what's the word, intimate letter, handwriting on the back of a photo. I forget exactly what it says, but something to the extent of, I hit that, good looking out.
Yeah, it insinuated a affair.
It wasn't, And if you think about it too, it was like, Thomas Wayne was a powerful dude, got a lot of money, he influenced a lot of people. You can easily see him, forging some paperwork or whatever, and kind of making her seem like she's crazy or whatever, and maybe having her committed to kind of keep her quiet from the actual affair. I mean, you could do that. That was the brilliant thing about the movie, is that they gave you this open interpretation. They just didn't completely shut it down and close it. They left you open to be like, all right, well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, maybe she was crazy, maybe she wasn't, like maybe it was set up. So
I mean, I think they potentially, I agree with you, dude. But like almost the whole thing was open to interpretation based on the final scene. To me,
everything.
But how cool would it be if he would be his son, illegitimate son? How cool
it was.
Bro.
I'm not mad at that.
It was crazy. That was crazy the way they did that.
That would be super cool.
I think I was literally like having like a whisper conversation with Jeffrey while we were watching the movie, being like, man, if this is the way that it comes back around, and and that that he somehow is responsible directly for killing Thomas, because I thought it was going that direction. Right. I thought the Pearl scene was going to involve Joker, and they were going to replace the Joe Chill thing. For a second, I thought that, because they were like leaning you towards that when he snuck in to be an usher or whatever. But instead, he just confronts him in the bathroom. He doesn't go. He doesn't. He's not. He hasn't reached his crescendo as far as madness apparently at that point. So, but I thought, it is spoiler talk, Bake.
Yeah,
if you want to see it.
It is spoiler talk.
And by the way, his name being Arthur Fleck, A. Fleck, right? Ben Affleck. Is that would you call that an Easter egg? Affleck, A. Fleck.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Yeah,
I heard that too.
I thought that was kind of funny a little bit.
Seems intentional, but I don't know.
It could have been. It could have been.
I mean, it could have been called Arthur Fleck just as easily because it was, it was Arthur Fleck's movie, not necessarily Joker's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When if we talk about the acting, you're just talking about Joaquin Phoenix and De Niro. There are some side characters, no doubt, but those are the two main characters. And in my opinion, Joaquin Phoenix killed it. De Niro didn't really do anything too special for me.
No,
I thought he was horrible, bro.
He didn't seem like a real believable Tonight Show host. You know what I mean? Like,
terrible.
Well, he tried to come off too much as like I guess like a lovable character in the beginning. They try to play him off as that. But it's
here's the thing though.
He couldn't do it like that, man.
Here's the thing, though. He's not portraying who he actually is in real life. He's portraying what Arthur Fleck projects him to
in his mind,
in his mind. So so that's why I think it was like intentionally played like over the top. Which may not have been the right choice. Like at the end of the day.
Well, it was that whole mentality was like, well, this is what he's making up in his head. He thinks this guy is the greatest, and if he ever got on the show, he would like take him in as a son. And then when he actually meets him, he's like, wow, this guy's a douchebag.
Right.
He put my comedy stand up on blast. And I was like, really, man? It's like, I'm struggling out there and I thought it was good, but you're going to put me on blast. And I think it intentionally did that to have just that another aspect of his life just crumble before his eyes. And it's like he made up this whole world in his head and then it just shattered in front of him when he found out that his idol is a douchebag. So it was like, oh, what the hell? So like it was just another pile-on on top of
but
just
it goes back to
shit.
It goes back to the King of Comedy. It was basically the same thing in the King of Comedy.
Yeah.
When Jerry Lewis was an ass.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he plays him off like he did a movie called The Comedian. De Niro. That he was the stand-up comedian. Dude, he was horrible. And it's like almost he's doing that same role in this movie.
Let me ask a question. I mean, maybe this is not following the specific topic we're supposed to talk about next.
I don't care.
But I just want to get straight to this debate right here about the Zazie Beetz girlfriend character, and after the whole Sixth Sense style reveal of you essentially, learning that all previous scenes or encounters with Arthur and said character that Zazie Beetz was playing. I forget her name off the top of my head right now. Do you guys remember the name of the character?
Her name is Domino.
Domino. Right. No, that's not true. Does anyone remember the real character name? Anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
When you find that out, and then he's basically locked in this like creepy, like, he's just sitting on the couch or whatever, and they have that kind of like, it's a scary moment for her.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a power exerting moment for him, but then they just cut away to him in the hallway, like basically being like
running down.
Okay, now I'm gonna wreck shop. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Is she still alive? Like, you know what I mean? They don't really tell you, but
Yeah. So
what happens? What do you guys think?
I think so. Me personally, I think she's still alive.
I do too.
The only reason why I say that is because he was still early on in his whole like craziness, and as you can see it later when he kind of transforms when his supposed buddy kind of like rats him out with the gun, and he's like, oh, he's been trying to buy a gun for me for like 2 weeks and all of this shit when he actually gave it to him. And when he comes over to the house with the little guy, and you can see that creepiness, you can already see the change, right? And when he stabs dude in the neck, stabs him in the eye, kills him, right? He's on the floor. The little dude goes by and he kind of like jumps at him, like pretending he's gonna get him. Then when he goes to the door, he can't get the latch, and he's like, "Can you help me?"
Bro, I was
like, "Oh shit, he's gonna kill this dude!" Like it was a setup. It was a setup to make him think that he was gonna let him go, but he locked it, so he knew he was gonna get it. He goes over, opens it up, and he's like, "Hey, you've always been a friend to me." Kisses him on the head and lets him go. So it's like if he was so far gone already at that point, and still let somebody go that felt like it was his friend. She didn't do anything wrong to him. You know what I mean? It was all in his head. So I think he was just like, I'm going to let her go because it wasn't her or whatever. It was like, oh shit, he still wasn't too far gone at that point. So I think he was just like, all right, I'm gonna run, and he ran out. So like I think he was just the rest of it when he was always nervous or he was trying to get away from something, he always ran. So I think he just like ran down the hall and was like, oh shit, I'm embarrassed. I'm getting the hell out of here. But I think he let her go. I don't think, you know,
I think he killed her. I think she's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I agree. I think
which is the opposite of the case of the like, you know, the final scene essentially in Arkham. She dead.
She's dead. She's dead. There's blood all over the place. Like, she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead. But one thing that scene was like really important for me, because that's when you realize how much this movie is unreliable narrator.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of get I guess a little taste of it in the very beginning when he's like in the audience of De Niro's talk show.
Yeah.
But still, that could just be a daydream, whatever. But they were showing you them like what seemed like storyline in the movie, which later you find out it's the unreliable narrator trick.
Right, which is sort of what I was getting to earlier when I said we'll get to it later at the end, that like the speculation of, okay, was the whole movie him sitting at that table in Arkham? You know what I mean? And was it all because like in the comics, that's something that Joker would do, definitely. Like he would tell, whatever, he'll just make up his origin story, like for whoever.
Someone pointed out, I think I read it or I saw it in a video.
And Steve Wood is like kind of saying some of that in the chat, and I heard some other people sort of like speculating on that a little bit. I don't know if I believe it necessarily, but I don't think it's not plausible.
I'm told.
No, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. You know what I mean? And like I said, I think that was the main thing about this movie, that the writer and the writer and director, same person, but he wanted it to be that open interpretation. He wanted that dialogue and everybody kind of like, oh shit, was it real? Was it not? Was it in his head? Did he really do this? So they wanted that open dialogue. And I think he said later down the line, when kind of like it's died down and people kind of forget about it, then he's actually going to say what they interpreted the ending to be. So if we wait like a year or something like that, then he'll probably be like, oh yeah, it was this, or it was in his head, or it was real, or something like that.
I hope they don't.
Well, I think that's why it's a great piece of art, because it spurs on that kind of, you know what I mean? Like one person saw it one way, another person saw it another way. Definitely. Another person thinks that this is the way that it ended, and another person thinks that it ended, that it was all a fake. You know what I mean? And that to me is a sign of like some sort of genius. There's some sort of genius in there, regardless of what you actually thought of the final product. There's some sort of genius in that.
Yeah. I'm told from something that I said, I don't know if I read it or saw it, but supposedly in that, in the beginning scene when he's talking to the counselor lady, and like it quickly cuts to him in a mental house banging his head against the door. Remember that in the beginning? Mm-hmm. Apparently, in both those scenes, there's a clock on the wall in the background, and it's at the same exact time on the clock in both those scenes, almost to imply that it's the same day and time. You know what I'm saying?
He's just telling her the story from like the beginning, and then at the end, it's like she's like, "Oh, what are you laughing at?" And it's like, "Oh, you won't get the joke." And it's like, is the joke that he was just telling her a whole made up story, or the joke is his punchline at the end that he knew, he heard that Thomas Wayne died, and that was a punchline. It's like, hey, this dude who kind of in his mind ruined his life or whatever and stuff like that, and ruined his mom's life or whatever. He's like, that was a joke. Like he finally got his or whatever and stuff like that. So I mean, again, that's the brilliance of it, is it was open to so much interpretation. Everybody was going to see something, and of course, people are going to tear it apart and look at every single little nuance and stuff to try to tie everything together. But they broke it up in a way that even if you do that, you're still going to not come up with a decisive, conclusive ending to this movie, because you're still going to have that in the back of your head, like, shit, but maybe it's this, but maybe it's that. And just like, and that's the sign of a good movie. It keeps you thinking after you've watched the movie. And I seen this on Friday, and it's Thursday, almost a week, and I'm still talking about this and stuff. So
I saw it a week ago, and I still can't get it out of my head. So
Now, do you guys have criticisms of the movie?
I had a couple minor ones, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't need to go first.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and it kind of lends to, some of the backlash the movie was getting. My stance is that I don't believe that movies, video games, anything affects like what people do or any of that. They've been making. Look at Natural Born Killers. When did they make that movie? That movie
literally early 90s.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's just my thing. I don't think movies influence anything. I think if anything, all that news coverage might have drove a motherfucker to be like, maybe I should go to the theater. They keep on. Yeah. But anyway, that aside, I do think they were like, the movie is really, they make him such a sympathetic character. Like, he seems like he's such a sweet guy, and he gets like turned out by the world kicking dust on him and stuff. And I feel like they should have made him a little bit of a shitbag. Like, the Joker is a total sweetie. Like, even when he's on the couch, he's like, I don't think he should have showed mercy to the little person when he unlocked the door. Because they're making him, still to the very end, he was right about to be in full Joker mode, and he's still pretty sympathetic there. Like, he's an endearing guy. Part of it is, again, that unreliable narrator. Is this so sweet to him because it's all in his head? I think that's probably, if they're kind of as going about as smart as I interpret it as, I think that's why the movie paints it this way of like, he's a kind of like a hero.
I don't know. I felt like that he had more sympathetic moments in the first act, but like somewhere in the second act, I stopped feeling that way personally. I mean, because I by the end of it, I didn't feel like I had any much sympathy for him personally. But I don't know if everyone had that same experience. So I don't know.
Like, everyone that he killed, kind of, you could justify, well, they kind of had it coming. Like, the douchebags.
Here's the thing. I would honestly I don't think anyone ever has that coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know.
So that's just my personal belief. So the second that line starts being crossed, like, I think maybe the first killing on the subway train you can justify as maybe self-defense because, they were all sort of like possibly on the verge of beating him to death. Like, you had to make a judgment call, you know what I mean, in that situation. I mean, I still don't think it was the right thing, you know what I mean, because you could maybe try to fire a warning shot or something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're even in that position. I mean, I've never been in that position.
He was even close enough to him. They were close enough to him that he could have easily, like, shot someone in the leg or something like that, and it's not a fatal shot, but it's enough of like, oh shit, the guy's gonna back up off you, and then obviously the other guys are gonna kind of just run away. He shot the first guy, and then the second guy was like, I'm shooting you. Then the third guy, he chased him down.
Right.
And was like,
and made sure it was done.
And then you seen when he started telling the guy later on, he's like, he tried to explain it. He was like, hey man, I did something really bad. And the guy was like, oh yeah. It was like, what you doing? He was like, I thought I would have felt bad about it, but I didn't. And it was like,
right. And that,
oh shit.
a mix of like the aftermath in that scene and that specific conversation that you're referencing, Los. Like, that's when I started that's when I started feeling the opposite way about the character. Which is why it started feeling like uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because you kind of, like, to Kenny's point, you were being set up to feel sympathetic for him. Yep, but I think there was actually a turn there. If you didn't catch the turn, maybe it's just that they did too good of a job selling you on the sympathy in the first act. I don't know. You know what I mean? And you kept riding that wave maybe of sympathy for the character, but I didn't particularly take it that way. I tend to detach myself from, the movie, and I'm just looking at it like a piece of art or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't endorse murder, but
I'm not saying you do.
I will say, as far as like just a narrative,
unless it's a slab.
Yeah,
just kidding.
You know what I'm saying? I don't endorse murder anymore. Just kidding. But it's like, I do think one thing that's characteristic of the Joker is, you don't really need to cross him for him to kill you.
Right.
And granted, this doesn't
in our current understanding of comic book world Joker, absolutely. I would say
I think correct. If they were trying to go for the essence of the Joker, it would have. This sentence kind of sounds weird, but it would have been nice to see him kill innocent people.
Yeah, right.
to really hit home, like, this guy's a shitbag. Like, I think it should have condemned him a little more at the end, but I guess should have he goes out on a high note, like, killed that bitch, and then he's running around, people chasing him. It's like a Daffy Duck cartoon at the end when he's like,
right, but it was also kind of an homage to the comic books that Joker's constantly escaping Arkham. Like, I thought that was kind of sweet, in a way.
Really?
If, like, from a writing and directing standpoint, it was an homage to me. That's what it meant to me.
It went almost into a Looney Tunes kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it did.
That other scene in the subway, that was a total Bernard Guest scene. That happened in real life. And to some, he was a hero.
Yeah.
Some, he was a villain. So was he defending himself? Wasn't he? It's almost the same thing as in the movie. You gotta, what was he, could he have shot in the leg? Could he shot up? Who knows?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at Duke coming through with some box office.
Yeah, I saw that. It's got an 8.8 average on IMDb. Dark Knight has a 9, I think, or a 9.1 or something.
All right.
It's better than Dark Knight to me.
To me, it's a better film than Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight is a better comic book movie. It's a comic book movie.
Yes.
It's a real superhero comic book movie. Yeah. It may be dark and gritty and intense in its own Christopher Nolan style way, which, I mean, I loved that whole trilogy. I mean, The Dark Knight Rises, I had some gripes with it, but I still overall liked it. You know what I mean? I thought that was still think it's a fantastic Batman trilogy, and seeing this Joker movie makes me want to rewatch the Nolan trilogy very, very soon. But I kind of separate them. They just don't feel like they're in the same genre.
Type of the movie. No.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I came in to this movie, I didn't look anything up. I just heard everybody saying it's artsy. It's artsy. It's artsy. And then when I started watching, I go, it's not artsy. It's just paying homage to these other 1970s, early 80s movies.
Right. I would agree with that.
That's what I thought. It's not artsy.
It wasn't artsy to me. It was a piece of art.
Yeah, it was a piece of art. It was almost like Kubrick, too. It was like Kubrick. The shots that he would just show, it would be like they were perfectly.
The cinematography
was amazing.
Mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, it was beautiful. The part where he's finally in his suit, when he's going to, oh my God, when he's coming down the stairs and he's dancing, and the Sinatra, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like
beautiful.
It felt like a much bigger budget than it was. Like, frankly, you know what I mean.
And the score does inform like the tone, and maybe because music, a lot of scores kind of directs how they want you to feel when you watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
And like when he came out to, was it that Gary Glitter rock and roll song, when he finally jokered up, which is a fun scene, but it's like. So he's got his groove back or whatever, and
they kind of played with like opposite emotions.
Yeah,
to give you the right to magically create this like exact right effect from it. You know what I mean?
But
with the music supervision choices, in addition to the score, like the score, I think really elevated the acting performance. The music supervision choices, like the use of actual pop music and culture in the film. Sort of was like the opposite of the vibe that was currently going on, and that somehow felt Joker. You know what I mean? Like,
it was perfect.
Yeah,
it was perfect, man. Those selections that they used,
I thought so as well.
Man,
I don't know if you can hear me, but I froze up, man.
The cello, it was crazy.
Los froze up. Something's going on.
It froze up.
My whole PC.
What's
going on?
He'll come back.
I tried to give him a little refresh. I don't know if that made it better or worse. Sorry, we can still hear you though.
All right, I wasn't too sure if you could hear me or not, because I was like, it just froze up on me. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I can't even restart anything.
I'm looking at the chat.
No, you sound loud and clear, man.
Yeah, you're good.
That it sucks, man. I'm like, what? It just froze up. I'm like, come on, like really? I can still hear everybody. I can still hear everything was going on.
I would just close out and click the link and try to come back. It probably won't work.
Yeah, my whole computer froze up. Like I can't even restart.
Yeah, you better not touch anything then.
Like I'm even trying to close.
All right, you'll just be the final scene of The Sopranos on the screen. Speaking of interpretive endings.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway.
Even though he got shot, we all know.
He It was lights out. It was lights out for him.
Yeah,
man.
you were looking out his eyes. That's why I went black. Anyway,
Don't stop.
Oh, good one.
Another great song selection, also though.
There was Batman stuff in this movie. Lucha Libre, Hiya Lucha Libre. What Batman stuff? Because it's a Joker character study, right? There's a little Batman in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What kind of Batman stuff? We went to Wayne Manor, right? That motherfucker was definitely Alfred, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that was Alfred.
I mean, they don't name him.
That scene was awesome, wasn't it? Oh my god, you just knew it was. And anybody that didn't know it, oh my god, it was so good. It was so good, bro. That was
when he slides down the pole. Right?
Oh
he slides down the pole of the treehouse. I feel like that's Batman 66.
That was a 66 homage.
Oh yeah, that definitely was.
I noticed it.
So freaking cool, man. I loved it.
Yeah. Alfred was, he was hardcore. He was like...
He was a little cocky for Alfred, though, wasn't he? Alfred's usually like
if you go back to his first appearance in Batman 16, which I did on a live stream once, that was more of his original look.
Really?
Yeah, he was a little bit more of a stocky guy.
In that, to me.
Yeah, they made him skinnier later on.
Yeah, issue 22, Batman. Later, they made him skinnier. So
cool.
And Thomas Wayne, of course, is in the mix. He's basically the antagonist of the movie in a lot of ways, which is kind of
I mean,
funny. Again, it's all through Joker's. I think people need to know that part when they walk into it of like, watching shit through the Joker's eyes. I think
through his point of view of everything.
That's right. That is definitely right. You're not sitting there as a neutral third party observer. You're watching through the mind of the Joker, essentially. Not even through his POV. You're watching through the mind of the Joker, which is an even harder thing to gauge. You know,
it's so shattered that you don't know what's truth and what's not. So I mean, it could all be false. It could partially be true. It could, it's all over the place. Like he gives you bits and pieces. So like there might be some aspects of what he's saying is real, and then he'll just like completely fabricate everything around it. So you don't know if that one little nugget that's real is actually real. So he kind of disguises it so well, and you're just like, all right, you don't know where to go with it.
Yeah. How do you even make a movie like this canon? You kind of can't. Like, it's so unreliable.
I mean, the only thing you can do is create its own universe. Like, if there was a sequel, it would be a sequel to this movie, not a sequel that connects it to other things. You know what I mean? Just like in DC right now, where Sean Murphy has his own universe, essentially, right? He has the Jack Napier Batman White Knight universe, and that's continuing now with Curse of the White Knight. So it's a similar situation.
They talk about
the way I see it.
Film. They were talking about making a black label film
division or something.
Vision, yeah. Which I wish they would. I don't think that. I think this movie should start the new Batman universe. I would like to see it continue on that kid becomes Batman, this same world. I wouldn't want to see this world like kind of create the canon for all of DC. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the Superman movie needs to be
its own thing.
But to be honest with you, as far as DC movies go, I only want Batman movies anyway. You could make a Batman universe of movies, and that's all I need. I really don't need a Flash movie. I don't know if I need any more Superman movies. Like, just give me Batman shit, dude.
With this Joker?
Yeah, with this Joker. Yep. And
see, I don't know. I feel the opposite way.
I do too. I can't.
I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this thing ruined or touched.
I don't want to see it ruined. I can't see it.
Will still be there when you go back to it.
In this world.
Can't ruin a movie. It's already in the books. You can't.
I'm not saying maybe not ruin it, but maybe alter the legacy of it. You know what I mean, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it is nice that they kind of had that. The Joker is actually the one that created Batman instead of Batman creating the Joker kind of deal. So
right.
I mean, that was a nice little nod in there and stuff like that. So I mean, there are little things that you can kind of nitpick here and there, but they're so minute that it's just like the rest of the movie just overshadows all those little tiny things that you could nitpick about the movie. So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like I said, it was just so well done, so well scripted, so well acted, that it's hard to pit it against like any other movie and be like, oh, it's this, because it was such a good standalone on its own. Like, this is it from beginning to end, and you basically make up your own ending kind of deal, and you just talk about it forever. You know what I mean? So they did such a good job with that.
You know how good this movie is and how good he did the Joker, that we're comparing him to Heath Ledger, and I didn't think that nobody would ever come close to that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's how.
Yeah, I mean, that's really impressive, and in many ways, it's it's a leading role. It is a leading role. You know what I mean? He carries a film. I'm not saying Heath Ledger didn't carry The Dark Knight. Like, it was the standout performance of The Dark Knight, but he didn't carry the film. You know what I mean? It wasn't the same degree of a leading role style performance. So
I never thought I would compare somebody to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Right.
And like Lo said, I would love that move if you started like a new kind of verse with a villain standalone movie. It'd be a bold move. The movie's bold. That's
definitely bold.
I like about it, to make that decision of like unreliable narrator type stuff. But
yeah, but I agree with what Pope's saying. Continuity is confining, and I just would hate for it to like go 3-4 movies down the line and start feeling watered down, and then in my
I don't need to see
that. and then in my like backwards nostalgia at how I felt when I just first saw that original Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix in 2019 on day one of New York Comic Con with Jeffrey Comic Con Henson. I don't want that memory ruined.
Yeah, you'll never forget.
Like diluting it, continuously. I'm not saying that they would screw it up if they make sequels. There's a chance that they screw it up.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yep. We hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. I wasn't too sure because, like I said, everything is kind of dying on me over here. I'm like, oh, what is going on?
How much money did it make?
$96.3 million
in opening. I think it's up
domestically.
It's almost close to 120 right now.
That's for
domestically, but worldwide it was like 250 or 275 or something like that.
It outsold Spidey Far From Home in the opening weekend.
Wow.
Oh, well, only during the Friday through. I mean, Far From Home is different though because it opened over a holiday weekend. So it started. It opened on a Wednesday,
on a
Tuesday in the middle of the week. So you can't really compare their two openings. It just
so Spider-Man lasted longer, had a longer.
No, it made more in its first literally 3 days over a holiday weekend than Joker made. You know what I mean? Like because it had a longer weekend or whatever. But if you take the specific Friday through Sunday tally or whatever, Joker won.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take those 3 days.
But what is impressive about it is doing that with a rated R movie.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's the impressive part, in my opinion.
Yeah, because to make the point that you don't like, DC should not be afraid to go rated R adult with their movies. Like, let MCU be the Disney family friendly popcorn movie. Like, you don't need that for success. Newsflash: little kids don't buy movie tickets. Your audience is adult ticket buyers with disposable income. So stop worrying about what little Timmy and Sally are going to worry about the movie. They got jobs, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't sweat that. They got plenty of entertainment. Make adult-oriented DC universe.
Yeah.
Batman stuff. And I think more than
I think what Jason is saying in the chat is a little bit unfair. He's saying at least Ledger's Joker had a plan. This one just flew by the seat of his pants. No way this one could ever beat Batman. How do you know? You never got an origin story for Heath Ledger.
This is
different.
This is one thing.
It's different.
This is one thing I definitely want to bring up. I was hoping it kind of came to them. So this is my interpretation of what these two, because I know obviously everybody was going to pit these guys against each other, right? Like who's the better Joker, who did it better, right? And the way I see it is they were pretty much on par with each other, right? They were both at the heights of their levels. And if you look at it this way, right, Joaquin Phoenix Joker, right, is at the pin, like the amoeba stage of Joker, right? It starts you from the very beginning, how he becomes the Joker, right? He knows absolutely nothing about killing or anything like that, and then he evolves into this, right? And you can see it at the end that he kind of like flips that switch. He puts the blood on his face and like is like, okay, now he's the Joker, right? Like he took over and he, you know, it's the Joker personified now. Like he finally kind of took that over, right? Whereas we get Heath Ledger's Joker already in the prime of being Joker, right? It's almost like a different timeline. He's already been the Joker. He's already formed his underground group. You know, he's been a mastermind at this for a while. And you can see it right from the very beginning where, you know, he does the bank robbery scene and he kind of pits all his crew against each other to kill each other. And then at the end, he's the only one left. So you can see like he was at the top of his game. Like this is down the line Joker. It's not a beginning stage Joker. We never got his origin and anything like that. So he's already been established. And, you know, Heath Ledger did an amazing job at that stage of Joker, right? And Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job at this stage of Joker. So to pit them against each other is not really fair. It's
right. That's what
you have to compare it as that timeline. And he did a great job as an origin, and he did a great job as like a veteran Joker. Yeah, like, you know, kind of matching wits with Batman already. So if you look at it in that sense, they both were like on par. They both did an amazing job as Joker, and I would put them side by side as best Joker because it's you can't do it because it's the different timelines. You know what I mean? They're doing it that way. So that's how I feel. I don't know if anybody else does, but that's how I try to interpret it. That way.
That's exactly how I feel about it. I just think it's kind of a
you would evolve.
It's kind of a you know, it's a blanket statement to say, you know, to compare those two characters.
It's too tough because they weren't on the same. They're not at the same level now. If they were at the same thing and like, you know, Joaquin Phoenix is going up against Batman and this guy's going up against Batman, and then you could kind of compare it because like, all right, how well did he did it against the same, you know, adversary? Whereas this is like, nah, he's in an amoeba stage. Like he's still growing and learning to be Joker. Whereas this Heath Ledger was already Joker and he was already at the top of his game. So, you know, but both actors did an amazing job at the stages that they were playing Joker. And if you do it that way, I mean, they were on par with each other. I'd say they were both amazing at playing Joker.
Yeah, I could see this Joker being, you know, criminal underworld type of Joker. You know, even though he's kind of a sad sack for most of the movie, you know, he could. I think he could be like a criminal. I don't know if you ever. I guess you call Joker a criminal mastermind.
Yeah,
yeah, he could definitely. And I think even more than, as far as like when I say continue the universe, like even more so than like I want to see this Joker come back and go against Batman, I think I probably just want to see like maybe this creative team or just somebody willing to treat the movies like they don't just have to be a comic book movie formula, you know? Mm-hmm. I feel like I just want, especially the Batman universe, you have such an opportunity to make like thriller, psychological thriller movie. You can't do that with a lot of Marvel properties. Like,
right.
You can make, you know, I don't want to say real movies.
I think, you know, I think it's possible we see some more risk taking in the Marvel universe, like not necessarily, you know, to the darkness or maturity level of Joker.
Yeah.
Because they have the Disney Plus streaming service. You're going to have like weirder stuff like the WandaVision thing, which could be a very kind of out there, type thing. I don't want to talk too much about MCU, like speculation as part of this Joker thing, but I think it's possible that you see, you know, comic book movies as a whole take more risks as a result of this Joker movie, not just DC. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Which is a cool thing. In my opinion,
this with Logan.
Yeah, and I loved Logan. I thought Logan was a great first step.
That was a good movie.
You know, felt kind of like a Western almost.
Yeah, that's what this feels for DC. What Logan did for Marvel, or you know, Sony or whatever.
Yep, it had that darker tone to it, and I mean, I can see if they are gonna like, you know, try to do a sequel or kind of like keep this going. I would like to see them still not have Batman in it at all, and have like the Joker or have like Joaquin Phoenix starting to like learn that criminal underground, build his like organization, and like, you know, take out somebody else who's like at the top of their game in
right.
like the villain, you know, thing, and then he kind of like takes over that spot.
That final
you kind of see him do something like that.
That not the final scene, but the penultimate scene. I love using that word, but don't you know, yell at me for using a professor style word. But that penultimate scene of, you know, of that, essentially him being saved, like the ambulance crashes into the car and he gets pulled out and he gets put onto the hood of the cop car or whatever. And then slowly but surely he gets up and rises, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And essentially that's like the band of Joker's, you know, misfits or whatever, you know, kind of like elevating him up or whatever. So I almost expected like the final scene to be like Joker and his new crew, like, you know, kind of sitting around like scheming or whatever, and then making some sort of comic book reference. I'm glad they didn't go that way, you know what I mean? And we got what we got as the final scene. Yep. But like that really kind of emanated, that moment really kind of felt right to me. You know, and it could have been written, you know, several different ways to close it from there, or it could have just ended there. Like that would have been a great ending too. Yeah, it could have cut off.
I thought it was going to end.
I thought it was going to end there. Yeah. Personally, then I was surprised that there was one more scene, but it was a great scene too. So.
Yeah, they just did they did a very good job of, you know, kind of lulling you into like this false sense of ending, and it's like, okay, it's going to end here. No, we're going to add a little more. It's going to end here. No, it's going to add, like, you know, they're like, oh, you know, after he shot Murray and he goes to the camera and he's talking to the camera and he says good night, they could have easily just ended it there and like, boom, cut to black and it was over. And you know, they show screens and stuff and then they just cut to black, you know, and then it's like, oh, no, we got another scene. Like he, you know, he's in the cop car, because in the background of all the TV screens, you see him get tackled by security. It's real quick, and in one of the screens, like you see him get tackled and stuff like that. So like, all right, that's how he gets, you know, taken by the cops, and now he's in the car. So now next scene, and again, like you said, when they take him out and put him on the hood of the car, he gets up, rises, puts the blood on his face. It's like they could have ended it there with everybody kind of cheering for him. It's like, nope, another scene, and you're like, so you kept thinking that it was gonna end right there, and they're like, no, we're gonna just keep adding to it, keep adding that mystery of it, and that was that good part where it just kept you on your toes, like, oh shit, there's more.
Well, without that last scene, there's no like walking away with crazy amount of speculation of what did I just see? Like, did I understand it? You know, like, or was it something else?
To me, the better ending would have been when he was looking at the camera. Just ended right there, dude.
That was a really like powerful moment. It was very powerful.
Ended him looking in the camera and just go. That would have been perfect to me.
Yeah, because he shot Murray. He shot him in the head, and then he shoots him another time in the chest, and then he just puts the gun down. Like he doesn't even take it with him. He's like, whatever, I don't care.
Like, you can see right there, he's just insane. He's lost.
Yeah, like, he's like, I don't even care anymore.
Oh, you know what I did not like? You know what was cringe for me was his joke.
The kid getting hit.
No, the actual joke. I thought it was real creepy when he's doing the practice in his apartment of how he's going to interact and how to be normal. Yeah. That was awesome. And then then like the knock, he's going to, what was that guy's name? Bud something from all those Faces of Death videos. Anyway,
I don't know.
But he's going to pop himself on live.
He was going to shoot himself live. That was supposed to be the ultimate punchline. He shoots himself, and then he's like, you know what?
And that would have been funnier than that little line that he drops. He's like, what do you get when you cross a sadistic loner in a tragic society? That was like the one little preachy. I didn't like the wording of that joke. It sounded corny.
And
I'll be honest, that was one of the things when I left the movie that I had a hard time remembering exactly what he said.
Yeah, he said, what do you get when you take a mentally ill person that's been ignored and give him a gun and do something like that? And then that's when he shoots him. It's like, all right. It did get a little preachy at that point. That little monologue there was like, all right.
Right, but he intentionally told like a bad joke that I guess he knew wouldn't go over before that, about like, the dying kid or something. Like, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
it was a knock knock joke. He said knock knock.
Yeah,
it was a knock knock joke. He said knock knock. Who's there? A mom watching her son get hit by a school bus.
Right.
And it was like what?
I like that he wasn't funny. It
was not at all. Not at all.
He's really not a funny guy.
He was not funny at all. Even his mom told him. His mom was like, "Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?"
Right.
And I like that. How about him laughing? We're talking about as far as Joker laughs. You want to rank Joker laughs? I love the laugh in this movie. We didn't even touch on the brilliant thing of he has a condition of him laughing.
The uncontrollable laughter. Yeah.
That was really cool. I like that he laughs when he's in the comedy club. He's laughing like on the offbeats. Everyone else laughing.
You know that it's a condition.
Right, like laughing in between punchlines as opposed to the punchlines.
Yeah,
that was a nice touch.
That's the first I've heard of it being a condition. I don't think I've ever read a comic where that.
No, I think that was something that was written specifically for this.
Yeah, I mean,
version of the story.
I'm pretty sure it is a condition, but it's like really, kind of discussed and like not too many people have it. But there is like a medical condition.
Oh, you mean in real life that?
Real life, medical condition. People like, laughing uncontrollably at like odd situations and stuff like that. They feel uncomfortable, so they just like have this uncontrollable laughter and stuff like that. And people kind of misconstrue it, obviously, because like the hell you laughing at? Like, did something bad just happen? But they're so uncomfortable and don't know how to express their emotions. They just start laughing. And again, it goes back to probably like the PTSD that he had when he was a kid, and his mom's like boyfriend like tied him to a damn radiator, and she was like so out of it herself that she's like they did like that flashback clip where they were kind of like talking to cops or whoever was talking to her in the mental place, and she's like, oh well, I didn't even hear him say anything. It's like, of course, because the kid's tied up to a thing, malnutrition and everything. Is like, so he was scarred, from a very early age and stuff like that. And who knows if that didn't happen, if he would have just been a regular normal person, he probably would have had no mental issues because he probably would have had a good, childhood. But because you're so scarred at an early age, he kind of had that PTSD, and not really, I mean, I see it as PTSD and not really a mental illness. It was inflicted on him.
So Jason said kind of like Tourette's, like, I'm not an expert. I don't know if the actual science, physiology or science behind Tourette's, if it's a mental thing or if it's like a brain thing or something. But Pope C also said pseudobulbar syndrome. Condition of uncontrolled laughter.
Yeah, so, I'm pretty sure it's some 47 letter word that nobody could pronounce.
Well, I think it's there. I think it's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
The way he played it, it was like a lot of times when he was laughing, it was almost like it was like painful. Like he would do this like choking thing sometimes.
Yeah, he would choke,
and it was like choking him. That's all like actor decisions, I think. I don't think you can write those kind of nuances into performance. That's Joaquin fucking.
That was definitely. I'm pretty sure that was definitely him throwing that little in there, that little like gagging, coughing thing where it's almost like it's hurting him to do it. I think he definitely threw that in there as like an ad lib kind of deal.
Yeah, like I can't wait. Like if there's like some behind the scenes like stuff in this Blu-ray whenever the hell it comes out, like I cannot wait to see anything from the behind the scenes of this. Honestly, like
it's that's gonna be nuts. There's gonna be so much like extra footage that probably got cut out or something like that. All the the actors and everything talking about like their perception of the movie and stuff, which is gonna be pretty damn cool. Obviously, the writer is gonna kind of probably come out and say what he thought at the time. Probably like director commentary or something. Like, so that's gonna be pretty cool.
Have you guys ever seen? There's a Netflix documentary about the process Jim Carrey went through to play Andy Kaufman.
Oh, Man on the Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, like if you've seen the movie Man on the Moon, he plays a pretty damn close interpretation of Andy Kaufman. Yeah. But he method acted the whole thing like for months and months and months, where he was Andy Kaufman in real life. And then Netflix put out a documentary that like includes like not only current interviews about that whole you know, how that whole thing went down, but like actually behind the scenes footage from like the trailers and, you know, like the, you know, the makeup backstage and all that of him actually being Andy Kaufman in real life. Like, it's just insane. I wonder if it was like that sort of with
maybe
Joaquin,
because I remember,
you know?
that he told everybody, like, when he came on set, they had to call him Andy.
Yeah.
If anybody called him like Jim or something like that, he didn't answer until they called him, you know, Andy, and then that he would answer, stuff like that. But he was in full Andy Kaufman mode the entire time, and everybody was like, it was kind of creepy, and people would like, all right, man, it's like, but he really got into like, it was, and it took him over. Like, he kind of like lost his marbles a little bit over that.
And that's why Todd Phillips, I mean, that's why Joaquin Phoenix initially was quoted as being just too hesitant to try and ever get himself back into that space or whatever to play this again.
Daniel Day-Lewis does also.
It is, I believe, what he does.
Yeah. Well, that's Heath Ledger did the same thing. You know, he was, you know, that method actor that gets really into character and stuff like that. And you know, he also did like those the ad libs and kind of, you know, put his own spin on the character. So I know when, you know, the scars on his face and stuff like that, then he had the 2 scars, the prosthetics was really dry and they would kind of like peel off and stuff like that. So he always had to keep it wet. So he would always lick it. And then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it as a like kind of like a Tourette's thing for the character, where it's like I always have to like lick. So every time in the movie when he's like licking his lips and kind of going like that, it's because he's actually keeping the prosthetics wet. And he was like, I'm just going to keep it as part of the character. And that's what everybody remembers, that he's always doing that, licking his lips, stuff like that. And you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And it's like, no, he was doing it for the prosthetics, but it worked for the character. So, you know, that's the better actors kind of get those little nuances that they add into their characters and stuff, and you can kind of relate to it a little more. And you're like, oh shit, okay.
They make them real characters. They make them.
Yeah, and because Warner Brothers is such marketing geniuses and everything is so cohesive, they're gonna pick up off the Joker hype, and you know you're fiending for a Harley Quinn movie, brother. And it's probably going to be just as good as this one, right? So, Birds of Prey, right around the corner for you. It's going to be just as good or better. What do you think?
No.
I don't even want to say anything.
Yeah. No, just no.
Just no. It isn't necessary.
Just no.
Wouldn't it be so cool to see? I don't know.
Well, it's not even if you watch like that last trailer that they just dropped for it, it's not even a Birds of Prey movie. It's a Harley Quinn movie with some ladies on the side.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? Yeah. It's like,
I'm not even necessarily saying that I think it's going to be bad. I just don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be the same kind of approach.
It's not going to be the same type of movie.
Yeah, that one they're still trying to possibly connect to other things. I have a feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I think they still have that. It's almost still tied to like Suicide Squad, because she even mentions that, oh, me and Mr. J are on the outs, and we kind of split up. So she's still like mentioning that Joker, that Jared Leto Joker and stuff.
Right, because she already played the character in the canon of the DCEU. So
it almost feels like the more we talk about this movie, it should just be left alone.
I think so too. Like that's my strong.
I know. Now that we do talk about it, and you kind of like break everything down, it's like, yeah, it should just be its own standalone. Just end it. That's it.
It should be its own movie. It should be
definitely.
It's gonna ruin it.
Yeah. It does make you wonder how the DC movie world is really weird, because you got this Joker movie, got the Harley one in the works or coming out soon, and then the new Batman movie in the works.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And which supposedly is based on Long Halloween, but not confirmed.
That's what I heard too.
And different Batman. So now no more Batfleck. So this is a new Batman. Does this Batman connect with the Harley movie? Because that movie connects with the Justice League world. It's like, what a shit show, right? It's weird. I don't think they have to. I think that was their biggest maybe flaw, is like, don't try to play Marvel's game, really.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's where they screwed up. Is
blew up in their face to try to do that.
Well, I'll give them credit. I thought Shazam was a wonderful, charming movie, and I really enjoyed it. It was never going to be the kind of character that was going to turn into the next like Iron Man or anything, in my opinion.
It was supposed to be that good time movie that you can watch and enjoy,
family friendly and everything. It was I thought it was really a good movie. So
I need to see that one. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so I mean, I got to give that one a shout out and some credit because I really liked it. And Aquaman wasn't my favorite necessarily, but I didn't necessarily think it was terrible.
It wasn't terrible,
and it was a major financial success.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was because it was something. So, it was something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you have these superheroes, you have all this, and it's like, all right, let's see this underworld, and the visual effects in the movie is what really kind of drew people to it. It kind of had that that Avatar like vibe to it. It was like, oh man, everything's so bright and beautiful and crazy and stuff, and I think that kind of drew people into it. And
I thought Wonder Woman was pretty damn good.
Except for the final CG.
The third act was the weak part, but maybe but I'm actually still optimistic that this new one will be.
No, I think so. The first movie was good. I definitely enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, me too. So if you count on one hand, Joker, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman. Okay, these are considered the at least okay to good DC movies in the last several years. So that's 4, and then you count on the other hand the ones that aren't considered that great recently, which is what Justice League, Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad. So really, it's like they're kind of turned the corner, at least as far as pure numbers of better movies to weaker movies,
better quality movies, more enjoyable movies to watch.
Yeah,
Man of Steel wasn't that bad. I dug Man of Steel.
I like Man of Steel, but it was like way so long ago that like I don't even almost don't even count it anymore. Especially because Henry Cavill is no longer going to play the character, so I'm just trying to. I really liked it. That was my favorite of the Snyder. Movies.
They had him in the Justice League. That man, but no more.
Yeah. They shouldn't even have done that. That's my personal thing. He shouldn't even have been in the movie. But that could be something for another day because that's another whole.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Started on Lex Luthor.
Right.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Hey, wouldn't it have been cool to see Lex Luthor in this Joker movie's world? This world of like the kind of maybe ruthless capitalist type. Like I feel like Lex Luthor could thrive in this world they created. But anyway, I would have liked him being like.
I mean, they did a lot of playing on class warfare in Joker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I could see that. I could see that possibly.
Yeah, it was definitely working. It was either you were rich or you were poor. That's it. Like middle ground in this movie.
Yeah.
Gotham's supposed to be really fucked up, so they got that right.
They did get that right, in my opinion. I thought the radio announcer of like just being in the background, kind of giving you like the lay of the land was a brilliant way to start the movie. While he's putting on the clown makeup and everything, you're kind of like getting an immediate education as to like the current state of Gotham. You know what I mean? And then that was like weaved in throughout between TV and radio, press. Like you kind of got that. That's almost something Frank Miller did. That is something that Frank Miller used to do. Like in Dark Knight Returns, for example, like he would wave in like the TV newscasters like every few pages, and that's really effective.
Yep, definitely.
Boom. All right, boys, we did it. Let's let's end on a grade, right? You guys want to grade this thing?
Sure.
I heard a few people in the chat say what would we grade it. Let's go with the graders notes system of 1.5, 1 through 5. And you can include halves. So let me start with the guest of honor, the Dark Knight himself, Los.
That's right.
Seriously, I know. I just faded. I just faded there. Honestly, I'll give it a 5. Just because I feel all of the negative, if you want to call it that, any of the little nuances that people could kind of nitpick and say, okay, yeah, maybe they could have did it this way. which you can say that with any movie.
Yeah.
But they were so minute in this movie, everything else just overshadowed it. And from beginning to end, just the writing that they did, the acting, you know, how they just played everybody in the audience, and you're just like, okay, it's going this way, it's going this way. You think you know what's happening. It's like, all right, now we're gonna flip it over in this way. And then just the way they could have ended it in so many different spots. You know, there was like 3 or 4 different times that they could have ended the movie, and they just kept on going. And you're like, all right, nice. There's another part. There's another scene. And they just kept adding to it and just adding that element of not knowing when it's going to end or what's real or whatever. And the way they just played that was just perfect. So for me, I have to give it a 5. And even when I, you know, talk to coworkers, and I have a coworker that doesn't really watch, you know, comic book movies in that sense, doesn't really know the character, when he's like, this movie was amazing, then I know it's like, okay, you get the average moviegoer to say that this movie is amazing from that aspect of it. I'm like, okay, this, for me, it's a 5. So that's what I say.
Big 5 from Los. I just realized.
I think we confused the chat because we didn't use comic book terminology like CGC 5.0. You're like, what? Really? Is that low grade?
Oh, yeah.
We can use the chat.
Everyone's like, what?
We go, all right. So if you go do CGC, I give it a 9.9. So for the little nuances, it can't be a Gem Mint 10.
Right. There you go.
Comics of Beulah gives it a 2.
2 out of 5. I guess that's decent.
2 out of 5.
Doesn't like it. If someone didn't like it, that's kind of a decent grade.
Yeah.
It's below average. Definitely below average. NYC, what do you say to that? Do you agree with the Beulah?
Do I have to go with a round number, or can I go decimal points? Because I rarely ever give a movie 5.5, 5 out of 5, or a perfect 10, or whatever it is. Like, I would give it a 4.75 or whatever. Or if I was using a CGC level grade, I wouldn't go up to I wouldn't go as high as Los with a 9.9, but I would give it a 9.8.
Okay.
You know, I thought it was as close to, you know, as close to a perfect film as I possibly could have imagined it to be, because I had high expectations going in. You know, I had been following sort of the critical buzz, the fact that it won the Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival. You guys, like, if you're not a serious film buff, you probably don't know how big of a deal that is. But that is an insanely huge deal.
And then they give him an 8-minute standing ovation too.
That is an incredibly difficult award to win for any domestic movie, because they tend to go to like foreign language movies and all sorts of like. So for it to win that Golden Lion at Venice, and also just walk out of that with the kind of buzz, I was following that. I mean, I wasn't trying to get spoiled, you know what I mean? but I was following that. So I had really high expectations going in. I was like, there's no way that this can surpass the expectations that I had going in. And it still surpassed the expectations I had going in. So, you know, so comic book grade wise, it's a 9.8 for me. 5-star movie review wise, it's a 4.75 for me. It's a score that I'm never going to get out of my brain. Like, it's the combination of the score and the acting performance from Joaquin Phoenix is a 10. You know what I mean? Like, that unto its own to me is a 10.0, 5 stars. It's some of the other little elements here and there that I can nitpick. You know, even to some degree, the comment you joked about earlier, I don't remember where, Kenny, or maybe it was someone else. Like, how did the show get a clip of his stand-up performance in a pre-cell phone era? Like, did they have like a VHS tape sent over or something? You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit, but it's such minor things.
Nitpicking.
Nitpicking, exactly. So that's where I land. 4.
Because that is realistic of him getting brought to a show from having like a viral clip, and they bring him on. That happens all the time now. It is true that then that's probably pretty rare. But you know.
And I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from Tarantino, to see Woodard's point in the chat. But my grade for that movie was more like a 4.2 or a 4.3 or something like that out of 5. I didn't quite like it as much as this. This is my favorite movie of 2019 by far. And you know, as a huge comic book fan, when in my opinion, a great Spider-Man movie came out this year, and frickin' Avengers Endgame came out this year, And this Joker movie is my favorite movie of the year. And that's kind of crazy, to some degree, but Avengers Endgame was, I mean, if I really have to analyze it, Avengers Endgame is my favorite like comic book movie this year, maybe.
Yeah.
Because there were so many stakes over 22 movies.
Definitely.
That when you're up to issue 22 of an ongoing series that you're pulling, like fucking House of X, Powers of X, 12 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? Like when you're that invested in a comic book series, that payoff is very important. And the fact that they like stuck the landing on that and just kind of blew people's minds and broke every record in the world. I mean, that's an incredible achievement. But as an actual film, Joker is my favorite film of the year. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah.
There you have it. HialeahComicBro, with the wall of glorious books behind him, knows his comics, knows his movies, because I saw you on with John in his movie show. So you know both worlds very well. What do you say about the Joker grade-wise?
I gotta agree with NYC, man. It's a 9.8. It's not a 5 because it's really hard to give a 5, but it's up there. It's a 4.75, 4.8, whatever you say. I don't even see this as a comic book movie. I don't
either.
I went in not expecting anything.
Yeah.
And to see that they paid homage to Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, somebody put Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I wasn't at any time in this movie. You needed to watch every scene, watch his acting. I'm a huge Daniel Day-Lewis fan. Worship the guy's movies. And that's how I felt watching Joaquin Phoenix. And I've loved Joaquin Phoenix and pretty much everything he's done. I don't know. Have you guys seen U-Turn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember the part that he played in that? It was a freaking small-ass power. He played TNT because, dude, to me, he stole that movie.
Have you seen I Was Never Really Here?
Yes.
Yes. It's such a
Yes, I've seen it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, he is just, I was never bored watching this. And this movie's slow. It's not a ton of stuff going on. It's just a performance.
Yep.
I have a dark sense of humor. And this might be the funniest DC movie I've seen because I laughed. In the apartment when the two come over, I had to stop myself from laughing because I was cracking up.
When the gun falls out of his pants.
Oh my God.
I just now remember that. Wow.
This movie was, to me, I'm known to my family as the person that says the wrong thing at the wrong time because that's how I deal with stress. When at the worst time, I got to say something that's not funny. To me, it's freaking hilarious, but I'm happy. My wife gets me, so she doesn't, she gets me, even though nobody else does, even though my kids do now. But I love this movie. I thought it was hilarious. His acting, the music, the score, dead on. It's really good, man. It's really good, and I can't wait to see it again. It's right up my alley. It's my kind of movie.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see it again this weekend.
Definitely.
Yeah, I need to see it again. What a glorious year to be a comic fan. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Has never been better. House of X, Power of X.
Mm-hmm.
You got, as far as the movie world, you got your big spectacle movie. You got that with Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the coolest special effects sequence that I've seen in any comic book movie was the Mysterio sequence in Spider-Man Far From Home. That was amazing to me.
I love that sequence too.
Yeah, it was like comic book splash pages coming to life, and it was like, I really like that. Even though that movie on a whole, I kind of felt like I was watching like, those like Disney teen Hannah Montana movies. But when it got into the Mysterio stuff, I was like, hell yeah, especially. And then we also got, in the comic book world, the small film feeling anyway. I'm sure they spent a good amount of money, but not compared to Endgame. A small film character study, performance-based. You can say artsy. I would.
Yeah, I mean, they spent
definitely
$55 million, which is the equivalent of like, with inflation or whatever, like what movies in like the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s spent that were considered, I guess, like mid-level budgets back then, or low to mid-level budgets. You know what I mean? Like, it's in New York, filming in New York, a $55 million movie. That's kind of like a mid-budget to higher low-budget film now.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think the main thing about it's like all I really ask for in a comic book movie is I want to feel like all the people involved in the movie were really passionate about making the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all I could ask for. You know what I'm saying? When I watch some of these movies, I feel like they're just churning out the formula to cash in on that weekend and whatever. But like when I feel like they really care about the project, that's what you get with this one. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely shines through a lot more when you can tell that the actor actually wants to play the part and wants to be involved, and not just like, oh, I'm here for a paycheck, I'm gonna jump in, I'm gonna get the money because of my name and then I'm out, So you can definitely see that he got into role, got into character, and those are usually the best movies. Those are the ones that you want to see over and over. It has that rewatchability, and that's what I look for too in a movie. Is like, do I want to see this again? Am I going to see it in the theater again? Am I going to buy it on Blu-ray and watch it over and over again? That's what I look for too. In this movie, the acting was so well done, and the score and everything was so well done that it's like I'm waiting to watch it again, which I'm going to see it on Tuesday. But I can't wait for that digital release. With all the back bonus features and everything. I just want to break this movie down so much and rewatch it that many times over. And that to me is what makes a great movie, is that rewatchability factor. And this had it, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'll catch it again in the theaters, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting it at the crib with the pause button, like Kavi said.
I can't wait to get the pause button going on it.
You definitely need that pause button.
It's hard to see. Some of the stuff goes by real quickly that could be considered Easter egg material.
Yes.
It goes by really quickly.
Yeah. And if I was to give it a grade, like, it wouldn't get a perfect 5. In grading it as a film, because some of the things I would take off, I gotta resist the urge to take away things based on it not being my Joker. Like, that's when you do that and say, well, Joker doesn't usually do this and this and that. That's you projecting some shit that you're expecting on the movie. I gotta grade this as the movie what they intended to make. Their Joker. So when I do that and detract stuff that I think might not be consistent with my Joker or whatever, or the Joker that I know, 4.5. Yeah, it's almost flawless, beautiful performance, off the chain, soundtrack, like we've said, creepy as hell. What can you say with that we haven't said? The movie's phenomenal, everyone. Watch it. I didn't really feel like I wanted to kill anybody when I left, so I think
I think I'm okay in that department.
I think I'm good too.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, there was no violence in my theater. Everyone was kind of laughing, having a good time. Me and the dude slapped high five on the way out. It was all good. So that's it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and kind of breaking the channel back in.
Welcome back to YouTube, Comic Head.
Good to have you back.
Yes. Kenny is back live.
Yes. And Los, even though I can't see you, it's all good. I hope this isn't the last time that we link up.
No, definitely not. Thanks for having me on. Sorry I conked out there, but at least I was, still a voice in the background. But I definitely had a great time. I couldn't be on my first live chat with better group of dudes. So I'm just happy to be here, and hopefully I can do this again. So I had a blast. So thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
This might be a good look for you, like this whole Dark Knight thing.
Just that whole that's it. That's how I come on all the time now. It's just darkness.
Yeah. Or you can always do one of these things.
There you go.
You got to get the little custom. I don't even know how to change that. I did that back when it was Google Hangout, and I don't know how to find this setting in StreamYard. So
how do you do that?
I think I know where it is somewhere on here. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
there you go. But
there
see how you made that your icon.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't remember. It was somewhere on like it was somewhere on like the right-hand corner settings or something.
Yeah, I think you have to make it in the studio, and you have to create it and then save it, and then every time you come back on, you can kind of throw on what you want as far as like things popping up and stuff.
Okay, well, good to know. Even though I like the Kirby Galactus, but
yeah, it looks cool.
We'll see. NYC, appreciate you hanging out like always. Is there some stuff coming up on the NYC channel that people need to know about?
No, it's hard to top, like 4 straight days of Jeffrey Comic-Con and I teaming up at New York Comic-Con, and then doing live streams and movie reviews and calls and hunting trip. I think I gotta let my channel simmer down now for a little bit, if you know what I mean. Just
yeah. If anyone here has
no, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think we're working on the next Gotham City Chronicles episode, which will be on my channel. I believe we're going to be doing The Killing Joke, which is, decent timing to be doing that one. And I believe Jay Hood is going to join me and JP on that. We're looking at the 21st. So that's some early news, whether we, I don't know if that'll, be the final or not, but that's the only thing I'm like super definitely aware of. I'll probably do some haul videos or something, basic or simple between now and then, but, no specific plan per se. I will say that there were some books that I dropped off at CGC at New York Comic-Con, which are pretty important to me. And I received the notification today that the books were received by CGC. Safe and sound. So, a little sigh of relief, and I will be unboxing those when they come back with some cool new custom labels. So look out for that too. So there you
go. To the
All right,
Mr. Lucha Libre. Appreciate you like always, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a blast.
You got any YouTube activities on the horizon, or?
I think I kind of decided I'm not doing a haul video every week or every other week. I think I'm gonna make it like a monthly thing, and just popping up with different dudes in the community. That's what I've been having fun with. I do the Silver Age Sunday with Conquistadors, and I do the new comic book day with 90, my boy, and Javi and D-Hide, and that's about it, man. I want to do something. I want to do a show, but maybe an interview type show, but I still haven't got that set up and see what I'm going to do with that. But other than that, I'll be popping in whenever anybody throws out an open invite. I'm waiting for NYZ to do that marathon 8-hour show that you're going to do.
No.
No,
I don't know if I can take it, dude. I mean, I get tired after about 2 hours. I feel like that's about as long as I can really, we're at 1 hour and 37 minutes. I'm really starting to get a headache. So
I'm I'm like,
what happens to me is my eyes burning.
Right.
See the screen.
It's just too much screen.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm certain I'm not entertaining enough to talk for more than an hour and a half. And yeah, man, as far as this very channel and myself goes, tomorrow night, I'm defending the strap, brother.
I cannot wait for that.
Friday Night Fights.
Oh, yeah.
They're always stacking. This is going to be like the second week in a row that me and my brother, the other half of the Mega Powers, have to go toe-to-toe, big dude.
Toe-to-toe.
So we'll be doing that. That'll be fun. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. And as far as, this channel, I'm not sure, but stay posted. And thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Peace, everybody.
Good.
Watch it soon.
See you guys.